Hey y'all, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to check out another one of my videos. And if you're new here, hello and welcome. My name is Katie Marie and I am a lover of eyeshadow palettes or anything, pretty much anything beauty related, but eyeshadow palettes have my heart and have my attention most of the time. Today's video is a little bit unplanned, but I want to do a video sharing with you guys about a new brush set from BK Beauty, and it's in collaboration with another YouTuber here on YouTube. I do that every time. Anyway, it's in collaboration with the YouTuber Brit Clarke, and she teamed up with BK Beauty to put together some of her favorite brushes and be able to offer it as a set at a discounted price, which I think is absolutely amazing because for me personally, if I'm going to spend that much money on brushes, I like to get sets. It really hurts to just buy individual brushes because it does get expensive, so being able to get them as a set is so amazing. So I figured I would sit down and share with you guys all of the brushes that are included in the collection and what I think about them, and if this brush collection is worth the $100 price tag roughly, but $100 roughly is the price tag, and let you know if these brushes are worth that much to spend on. Before we get into it, per usual, I do want to do my Instagram shout out for today. And today goes to Marcia Menarci. I hope I said that right. Marcia, you are my Instagram shout out for today. Thank you so much for interacting with my most recent content and leaving me such a sweet comment. And yeah, today goes to you. Thank you so much for following me over on Instagram. And per usual, if you want a chance to be featured at the beginning of my videos, all you have to be doing is following me on Instagram on LADYKATY92 and interact with my content as it goes up. And then I randomly select someone when I sit down to film. So first, a little bit about the brand. BK Beauty was started by Lisa J Makeup. She has a YouTube channel. She's been a YouTuber for quite some time, and I was really excited to see that she was coming out with brushes. So she is the one who started BK Beauty, and BK stands for Be Kind Beauty, which I think is absolutely beautiful. It's just what the brand stands for and everything the brand's about, I really think is very special and unique and something that I'm excited to support. Their tagline when you first go on their website is passion for beauty, mission of kindness, luxurious performance. That's kind of what their whole brand, what all their brushes are about. They're 100% cruelty-free, vegan fiber, more consistent fiber, less breakage is what they're claiming with these brushes. They have a luxurious feel, flawless performance, superior pickup and payoff is what they are promising you with these brushes. Something that I think is really neat with BK Beauty is that every purchase made on their website, they make a donation to an organization or something to inspire kindness is what they say, and I'm sure you could go on their website and read more about it to find out exactly what they are donating to. But I think that's really, really cool for a brand to not only have their name around, be kind and promoting that, but to also put their money where their mouth is and not just say, hey, we should all be more kind, we should all be more giving, but to actually do it and make a donation with each purchase that you make is really, really neat. So I did want to make sure I pointed that out. But yeah, BK Beauty as a whole stands for a lot of great things, and the brand, ever since I heard of its existence, the first time I heard that Lisa J was coming out with a brand, I was super excited and just really hoping for amazing and great things for the brand. And I'm glad to see that it's kind of evolved into what it is today, which is what we're talking about, Brit Clarke's brush set. And to my knowledge, this is the first time that they've collaborated with a YouTuber to make a brush set. I feel like I'm a little dark. Let me fix this. I should have done that earlier, but anyway, now we're fixed. So yeah, Brit Clarke collaborated with BK Beauty to release 5 brushes in a set that retails for $120, but you can get for $95, and these are the brushes here. Finally showing you guys like 10 minutes into the video. Anyway, these are the brushes. There are 6 because I think it's really neat for the foundation brush that she chose. She decided to have an option, which I think is really great because everyone has their preference, especially when it comes to foundation brushes. I feel like that's just something very personal with the type of brush you like to use. So she had 2 picks, so whenever you go to purchase your brush set, you can choose between either the slanted one, which is the 101, or this domed one, which is the 106, and you can have your option, and then the rest of these brushes come with it. But yeah, these are the brushes in her collection. As I said, you can get it for $95, and to my knowledge, coupon codes do work. And I actually have a coupon code, and I totally forgot to say this in the beginning. I'm so bad at remembering this. I was sent all these brushes from BK Beauty. They were so kind enough to send them to me. Lisa actually reached out to me and was like, hey, I'd love to send you some of our brushes, and I was like, sure, I'd love to try them. So that's why I have all these brushes, and since I happen to have all the brushes in Brit's collection, I decided to do this video so I could hopefully, be informative and share with you guys some information if you are at all interested in the brush set. Okay, yeah, that was supposed to go at the beginning of the video. Anyway, so as I was saying, I do believe coupon codes work, and Brit does have a coupon code. I'm forgetting what it is off the top of my head. I'll leave it included in the description box, but I also have a code. Lisa let me know I have a code. It is not affiliate to my knowledge. It is LADYKATY, and will get you 10% off. It just lets them know that you're coming from me, my channel, my recommendation, which I always appreciate because even though I'm not making commission, it lets the brand know that, you came over from my recommendation, which means a lot to me and to the brand to know where their customers are coming from. So I'll have my coupon code down below below as well if you want to use it. And I'll have Brit's link down below, because from my knowledge with this brush set, I don't think she's making money on the brush, like putting the brush collection together, except through purchases made through her link. So I'll have her link down below so that you can click on that and use that if you want to make a purchase. And that way some of the profit will go to Brit and her collaboration. So anyway, getting my scattered mind back to these brushes, let's talk about them. I went ahead and used them with my makeup today, and I pre-filmed it, so I'm going to be inserting clips as I talk about them, but I wanted to run through each of the brushes individually and give you my thoughts, and then at the end I'll sum it up with what I think overall. So first up, we'll talk about the foundation brushes. I'm going to talk about the 101 first, which is the slanted brush. I really like this. Again, it's going to come to personal preference, but I'm someone who does like that kind of pressing in instead of really swirling and tugging. I just like to press, and the slanted angle of this brush really does a great job at blending effortlessly your foundation into it. I've only used it for liquid foundation, but I have a brush very similar to this from Real Techniques that I use for powder, and it works great, so I can't wait to wash this and use it for powder as well and see how I like applying it with my powder foundation. It's really nice and dense, extremely soft, and I would say when we're talking about the softness and the way the brushes feel, like all of them in general, they do really remind me of like Sigma Beauty. If you're someone who has a lot of Sigma brushes, that's the kind of feel that I have. They're really lightweight, but they still have that luxurious look and feel to them, and overall like the aesthetic of the brush is very well done. And then the bristles themselves are so soft. Like I said, kind of reminds me of Sigma, maybe a little bit softer. Also, It brushes for Ulta. If you've ever tried It brushes for Ulta or It Cosmetics brushes, their brushes are really nice, and that's what these BK Beauty brushes remind me of. The softness of the bristles takes me back to those brushes. So just a little bit of comparison. If you're someone who have those brushes, that's kind of what I equate these to, the feel of them at least. But yeah, the foundation brush is really nice, and honestly, out of all the face brushes so far, it's one of my favorites because I love that slanted tip. It just really works really well to pack on and blend in my foundation effortlessly. It's just been my preference recently with this type of brush, so I really do like this. I've been using it a ton ever since I got it, and yeah, it hasn't let me down. I do like that it's a bit of a smaller brush, because as I was saying, I have one from Real Techniques, but it's a bit larger than the BK Beauty, and I actually like the smaller one because it allows for a little more precision and you can take a little bit more time. It fits in the corners of my nose a little bit better, so I don't mind the size of it. I think it's actually the perfect size for my face. I really prefer it and appreciate the size that it is. It's like perfect for me. Moving on to the other brush that you can get is the 106 brush. This is like the typical small domed foundation brush. It is a little small for my preference, I guess you could say. If it's a rounded brush, I don't mind it being a little bit bigger to get the job done faster, but actually it's very comparable in size to the It Cosmetics number 7 brush, which is like super popular, that double-ended one. They're very similar in size and in like the length of the bristles, and as I said, in the feel of their bristles, and it gets the job done really easily, very quickly. You can just kind of buff and blend it in. If I want to take a more stamping motion, again, because the brush is a little smaller, it takes a little bit longer, so I feel like if you're someone who likes to sweep and really kind of buff out your foundation, you'll prefer this brush, but if you're someone who likes to stamp, you'll probably like the slanted 101 brush. That's just kind of my opinion looking at it and kind of comparing these brushes. I just feel like for stamping purposes, this brush, also the 106, isn't as dense as I guess my preference when it comes to stamping, so that's why I preferred it just to kind of swirl and get it blended out and buffed out really nice and quick and easy. But yeah, no complaints with this. It buffed it out beautifully. I thought it did a great job at diffusing the makeup and making it go on really nice and smooth and effortlessly. And another great brush. So when it comes to the foundation brushes, the 101 and the 106, it really comes down to personal preference. But for me personally, if I was, talking myself, recommending to myself which one I should buy, I would say go with the 101 because I love the slanted bristles. So the other face brush that she included in this set was the 104 brush. This is kind of just like a typical domed, very fluffy brush when you're thinking like blush or even bronzer and whatnot. It's really nice to fit in. It really does make me think of a smaller version of the number 14 brush from It Cosmetics. This one I really love. I use this all the time for setting my face. It works fantastic, but it does have that similar feel to it, except that the BK Beauty one is a lot more longer in the bristles and a bit more flimsy, maybe just a touch, not that much. They're both pretty equally dense, I guess you could say, but it reminds me of a smaller version of this. So in using this the past couple days, I kind of used it like I would with this brush, and I used it to set my face. It's a touch small when we're wanting to like set the whole face because it is a little small, but it gets the job done. Like it doesn't take that long. It's not that small, but just a teensy bit smaller than my preference to kind of set my whole face really quick and effortlessly and not pack on too much powder. I like really big brushes to just dust over, and this was a little bit small, but when we're talking about for bronzing and blush, which you guys are going to see me use, I did both of them today with this brush. They work beautifully. It's really nice at diffusing. I feel like when I use both my bronzer and my blush, it diffused the product so beautifully into my skin. Like no harsh lines, no work in blending it out. It was just so effortless to buff and blend it in. So really impressed with this brush. And I do like the versatility with it. As I just said, I used it for both my bronzer, my blush, but also to set my face, and it did all of those jobs I thought really nicely. So it just kind of depends on your personal preference. But for me, like if I was ever going and needing to travel light, I could bring this brush and absolutely use it for both bronzer and blush. Just flip the sides and I get the job done really nicely. But yeah, when we're talking about blending products out on your face, this is just so effortless and the bristles are so soft. This type of brush tends to be my preference for blush, but using it for bronzer, I wasn't mad at. I actually really enjoyed it. So another brush that's really nice to have. I feel like everyone needs this type of brush for some aspect of their face, whether it's blush or bronzer or setting their face, whichever one they prefer. I feel like it's a great staple brush to have. So well worth being in a brush set that you can purchase to try a brand. I think it was a great idea on Brit's part to include this brush because I feel like anyone, no matter your like makeup preferences, makeup styles, everyone can use this brush somewhere in their makeup routine. So the next three are the eye brushes, and the first one I'll talk about is the 201. This was honestly my least favorite. I'm gonna stay honest with you guys. I'm not a fan of this brush. If you are someone who is a fan of the standard like E40 brush from Sigma, you'll probably like this brush, but for me personally, I don't like the E40 brush much anymore, not only because it's so big and flimsy, but it also doesn't have the taper that I prefer when it comes to my eyeshadow brushes. I just like more of a taper, which we're going to talk about another brush in a minute. So for me, this brush was a little bit of a dud, and when I had it, I was just kind of like, oh, like, how am I going to use this? I'm not the craziest at using it for its intended purposes, which is to blend and buff into the crease. And again, this is my personal preference. Maybe, like I said, if you like the E40, you'll probably love this type of brush, but for me personally, it's just a little too big and a little too harsh on the edges for my liking. So instead, today I decided to use it for highlighter and actually did a great job. It's a tad bit small because it's an eyeshadow brush. It might be a tad bit small, but since I just wanted to highlight right on the top of my cheekbones, I didn't want to go too crazy. I wanted to keep it very precise, and I just put it right there underneath my eye on the top of my cheekbones. It did a great job. So that's an option if you are looking at this brush set and maybe not liking or not sure if you have smaller eyes, if you would be able to get use out of this. You could also use it as highlighter, which is what I did today. I do think that if you have very small hooded eyes, you might have a hard time using this for, you know, buffing and blending shadows into your crease. But, you know, then again, if you're someone who just likes one color in your crease, this probably won't be an issue. But for me personally, I found it just a tad bit large for more precise work, which is, I feel like, what I've been into recently. So again, something that comes to personal preference, but when we're talking about the quality of the brush, it is very nice. Again, really soft. I will say though, out of all the eye brushes, I feel like this one is the least dense. Like it just doesn't have as many bristles as the other two that we're going to talk about, which maybe that's why I don't like it as much, but it's just something I noticed. It doesn't have as many bristles and as much fullness to the bristles and as much of a taper to the bristle as the next brush I'm going to talk about next. But yeah, overall, it's an okay brush. I will find use for it like I did today with the highlighter, but it's not my preference when it comes to eyeshadow brushes. As I said though, we're going to talk about the 202 brush, which is my ideal brush when it comes to blending color into the crease. Not only is it a little bit smaller, I like the point it has on the tip because all the bristles come to more of a point, but it also has a great taper down the sides of the bristles, making it just so easy to blend and get a very diffused look, like no harsh lines, because they're just such a wonderful taper to the side that it takes care of it as you just go back and forth. It blends everything so seamlessly, so beautiful. And today I use it for both the yellow and the pink on my eye look today, and I thought it did a fantastic job. Not only doing the two colors, I just kind of, you know, cleaned it off with a color switch, but also meshing the two colors together. It did beautiful. And this is hands down one of my favorite eyeshadow brushes that I've tried from BK Beauty so far. It's just really great. If you're someone with a little bit of hooded eyes, and generally speaking, blending brushes, eye blending brushes from brands tend to be too big, I feel like this one will be more up your alley because it is a little bit smaller. It does come to that point and it has that great taper to it. I just feel like it allows for a little bit more precision and a little bit more friendliness when working in smaller spaces, and at least that's the experience that I had. But yeah, this brush is fantastic. I really do like it. I am really excited to see that it's in this set because, as I said, it's one of my favorites from BK Beauty. And last up, she included the 207 brush, which is this little kind of smudger brush, which is what I use this for. I smudged it under my lower lash line, but I also use it to pack on shadow onto my outer corner because I really like to be able to pack on the color there, and it works works great for both of those. It is just such a wonderful little brush. It might be a little thick for my preference when it comes to packing on color on my lower lash line, because I prefer more of a pinch type of brush to really pack it on, and then I take something slightly larger to buff out and blend out another color around it. But with that said, it works really well. I just kind of was very careful to only put the color on the tip, and then that way I could get it right in there against my lower lash line and pack it on before I started blending. But I mean, it does work. I'm just saying, when it comes to my preference, I prefer something a little bit more smaller to pack on and then something a little bit bigger to buff around. But this does do the job, though I will say if you're wanting to get a gentle diffuse of color, you do have to be careful because this is a very dense brush. So when you put shadow on here, it deposits and packs on a punch when it's putting that color on your eyes. So something to keep in mind. But when we're talking about a great little brush to have for your lower lash line, this is really nice and fantastic, very well made, very nice and soft, which is great because for me, whenever I have a cheap brush, I hate using them on my lower lash line because that's a place that you can tell when you use a cheap scratchy brush on your lower lash line because it can actually hurt. But this does not. It's just so nice and effortless and beautiful, and it does not hurt or scratch at all. So a great brush to have. And as I said, if you're going to invest in brushes, invest in the ones that kind of go in your lower lash line because that's the area that will hurt if it's a cheap brush. So I'm glad she included something for the lower lash line in her set. So yeah, that is Brit Clarke's brush set. What do I think overall? Like I said, I feel like for me, the only dud in this brush set, if I were to buy it, would have been this brush, which is the 201 brush, just because it's not my preference when it comes to blending brushes. And then a regret would have been something to pack on a lid color. There's nothing in here for me to pack on shadow. So when I did this look for the blue shadow, I had to get a different, I think I used a Sigma brush to really pack on and get a very dense brush to pack on this shimmer. So there's nothing like that in this brush, which I was a little disappointed to see that there were two blending brushes and not something to pack it on. But if you're someone who prefers to use your fingers to put on shimmer, that won't be an issue. But for me, someone who doesn't like to use her fingers and who's someone who likes to have my flat brushes to really pack on the shimmer and stuff like that, I was a little disappointed that there wasn't any type of flat shader brush to do so. So those really are, though, the only cons in this brush set when it comes to my thoughts and opinions of it. I just wish maybe this brush had been switched out for a flat shader brush. But with that said, this isn't my brush set. This is Brit Clarke's brush set. So she put the brushes in here that she wanted to. So I'm not dogging on Brit at all for the choices she made. I think she made really great choices, but I'm just speaking from my preferences when it comes to makeup. And if I were to have bought this collection, this is just my thoughts and opinions as a consumer. If I would have bought this, kind of what I would have felt about this brush set. I just wish there would have been a flat shader brush, but overall it's still a great brush collection. The quality of the brushes are still outstanding. So I feel like, yes, $95 can be a huge price tag, but keep in mind when you do check out, make sure you use the coupon code to get 10% off and make it a little bit cheaper. And then also know that when you're purchasing these, they are expensive brushes, but part of your purchase is going to go towards an organization donated from the brand to help an organization, which I think is really cool. It's just kind of nice knowing that all your money is going towards not only nice brushes, but also a good cause. And then when you're thinking about brushes, you know, I was thinking about the price of these brushes. I think the eyeshadow brushes are around like $12, $15. They're not that far off from Sigma brushes. And I do honestly feel like Sigma brushes, the quality of the bristles, they can be kind of similar, but there's something a little extra special about BK Beauty, both in the handle, the presentation, but also the bristles themselves, that they're just a little bit more luxurious, a little bit more nice. So I feel like it's well worth the price. While the price of Brit Clarke's set as a whole at $95 is expensive, it is worth it in the end because the quality of the brushes are absolutely outstanding. I've been so impressed. Like I said, I got sent a bunch of their brushes from Lisa J, which thank you so very much. Again, I've told her so many times, thank you, but thank you so much, Lisa, for sending them to me. I am continuing to test them all out. I definitely have my favorites and my least favorites, kind of as I already mentioned in this set, you know, my thoughts on some of these brushes. So I will definitely be doing in another month or two, whenever I finally review everything, I'll be doing like maybe a best and worst or ranking all the brushes from my least favorite to my most favorite. I'll do some type of video kind of rehashing and talking about all the brushes from BK Beauty that I've tried. But for today's video, I did want to touch on Brit Clarke's set because I'm not sure how long Brit Clarke's brush set will be available for. I heard her say something about just through the month of August. So if you were at all interested, I definitely want to put this video out now in case you wanted a little bit more information or just size comparison or to see it in action, that sort of thing. And hopefully my video helped a little bit, giving you guys my thoughts and opinions. But yeah, that is going to do it for today's video. Again, thank you so much to BK Beauty and Lisa for sending me these brushes, and a huge congratulations to Brit Clarke for getting to collaborate with BK Beauty on this brush set. I think that is so amazing, so very special. I always get so excited when I see someone from the small beauty community get to have an opportunity like this to work with a brand, to put a collection together, or to, you know, do a collaboration. It's just so very exciting. So huge congrats to Brit. She did a great job with the brushes that she selected. And yeah, I just hope my video helped a little bit in helping you make a decision on whether to get this brush set and be able able to see if you could use these brushes or if they would add value to your brush collection or to be useful to you in your makeup collection and doing your makeup every day. But yeah, that is going to do it for today's video. As always, if you did find this video helpful or enjoyable, please hit the thumbs up button on your way out, as it helps me in the whole YouTube algorithm. And if you want to keep up with me, I am over on Instagram. I'm LadyKatty92, and you can follow me over there and interact with my content if you want a chance to be featured in my Instagram shoutout at the beginning of my videos. But with all that said, I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye guys.